Hi there. Thank you so much for staying with us. It's a Thursday morning here on Prime Morning. It's time for us to get into News Flash. It is proudly brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise. Still phones, Papa Pathy. This morning, you can also go there and grab some gadgets for yourself. We have phones, we have air conditionings, we have televisions, we have CCTV cameras, and all that you need. A microwave, if you want to use one in the house, the best place you want to get them is Franco Trading Enterprise. And you can walk into any of our branches this morning and make a purchase. Call the numbers you see on your screens and do business with us. And again, we entreat you not to pick any number on social media. Just call the numbers that you see on your screens and we'll attend to you. And of course, you can also download the app. It's Google Play Store. It's the Franco Trading app on Google Play Store, and you can visit our website. It's www.francotrading.com, and that's where you can also get all the info that you need. Franco Trading Enterprise says still phones, Papa Pathy, and Newsflash. It is proudly brought to you by the kindest courtesy of Franco Trading Enterprise. This morning, our job over here is very simple. We want to delve into the issues that concerns you most and some of the conversations that you already have, and now we want to also expand them over here on the show. We check the front page of the newspapers and what has been reported, and then we'll deal with two major issues this morning. The former finance minister, Ken, is still in the news. Now he's been declared a wanted man by the special prosecutor. Now, don't forget, they're having conversations about the NIB and Yoko also having interest in investigating the same person. We'll be talking about that here. Yesterday, there was an exclusive interview with the Deputy Attorney General, and he's indicated that there are other institutions that are also looking forward to interrogating the former finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta. We'll be looking at that. What exactly is there for Yoko and the NIB to investigate when the OSP is already on him? We'll be looking at that issue here. Now, Parliament has been involved in some chaos over the period. And a couple of days back, we had one with Dr. Ayu, who was literally forced by the Deputy Speaker of Parliament to actually leave the chambers. He refused to do so. The Speaker of Parliament himself, Honorable Bagbin, has been speaking on this issue. He refused to refer the case to the disciplinary committee. We'll find out what exactly that means. And moving forward, the caution that is given to them and what it would do in terms of changing the narrative of chaos or some of these things that we've seen in Parliament in a couple of Yes, now we'll be looking at that also. You want to send your comments to us, your messages, let us know what you think about it. And our WhatsApp line is active. You can also send it on Facebook. We're streaming live over there as well. And so you can drop your messages in real time. I'm going to be reading all of them here on the show. Tomorrow is going to be a big one. The Attorney General is set to actually brief us on oral. They call it a massive briefing. We'll be looking at that. Maybe that will be our wrapping up conversation this morning here on Newsflash. Newsflash is probably brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise. Still, phones, Papa Pathy. I've been joined this morning by distinguished men, and as always on Thursdays, you definitely, one way or the other, will find lawyer Kwame Jantuah here with us. He's a senior member of the CPP, and it's always good to have him over here on the show. Good morning. I hope you're good.
Good morning. How are you?
You fit?
I'm breathing.
That's all you need. That's all you need. But you still need your lights, your street lights on, right?
I still need my street lights on.
Yeah.
Apart
from breathing.
Everybody needs street lights on. But if you don't breathe, you won't see those street lights when they're on.
That's even if they are there.
Well, I should confirm that the street lights on the Legon bypass, the one that passes in front of Gimpa.
Yep.
The side one. The street lights on one side are all working. It never used to work before.
Oh,
so something is being done, but the other...
I think I've also covered a few on the 37 road. If you from Ofori-Atta, all those places, I've seen them fixed. I even took videos of some of them, and I'm not too sure about nights.
Yeah, I'm not sure about nights. There are still large areas without street lights. There are still large areas with atrocious speed humps and atrocious potholes.
Anyway.
So especially in this rainy season, when water floods the road and it covers it, be very mindful how you drive, because you might be driving into a huge pothole.
A huge pothole.
And that creates challenges for our cars.
Anyway, we'll continue to speak on this issue, and I'm sure that the right authorities will take care of some of these things. But let's go to the front page of the Daily Graphic this morning, and it says, Speaker directs MPs, ministers to regularize offices held for profit. Page 13 has got a story on that. Economy expands by 5.3% in the first quarter. Services agri lead recovery, and showcase graphic. Newspapers reduce airfares. Minister appeals to airline operators. Page 27 and 22, we've got those stories over there. You can read about it. The big story on the front page, however, is new era for aluminium industry. JADEC granted 6 mining leases. That's captured on the front page of the Daily Graphic. At the back page, impulse cases surge to 85. Public health measures prevent deaths, and Central University inaugurates hospital project. That's the Daily Graphic this morning. And I've got the Ghanaian Times over here on the front page. It says 2025 BECE takes off nationwide. And page 12 has got a story, and we're still wishing those who are writing the very best of that exams. Economy grows 5.3% first quarter. Government statistician speaks on that for page 14. Has got a story. 24-hour economy policy ready July 1. President says so. So there's a lot of things that will be happening on the 1st of July, including the data changes, which was made by the Minister of Communications. We understand that there have been some increment in terms of data, and that 15% would also take effect on the 1st of July. So it looks like 1st of July has really got a lot happening in terms of this government's policies. Now, let's go to the big story over there. And it says $300,000 equipment for Shraj goes to waste due to delay in obtaining services of network consultant. And that's also captured on the front page of the Ghanaian Times. Supreme Court overturns Akwatia MP contempt conviction. Page 3, he's got a story on that as well. You can read about it. Now, let's go to the very last one that I have, which is the overseer, and it says degree detectives get schooled. Tanko Computer calls critics ignorant, and we had this conversation over here yesterday on the big interview, and he's been defending it afterwards. Over the period, he's tried to defend this PhD thing, and it comes up every conversation, and anytime it comes up, he actually tries to defend it. Yesterday, he mentioned the university that he attended, and also still confirmed that he actually had that PhD from that school. So yes, yesterday in his interview here on the big interview on Joy Prime, he still insisted that that PhD is legit, and well. Court orders NLC to serve Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association with injunction order. That's also captured by the overseer this morning. Thief equated blast convenient members in NDC, warns against disloyalty. Don't forget, the NDC party also celebrated 33 years. Anyway, matters are rising. State capture an NLA, and Gaga alleges criminal takeover. Ablekumanov for order run of outstanding polling stations. Valerie Sawyer to EC. And ADB explores strategic agric insurance partnership to enhance farming in Ghana. That's also captured by the overseer this morning here on the front page. And that will be pretty much what the newspapers this morning are reporting. So you can grab a copy and read all about it. I've got also over here in the studio the very distinguished Professor Michael Layanga is here with me. It's been a couple of minutes. He's the acting deputy CEO of Environmental Protection Authority. It's good to see you again.
Yeah, nice to see you. Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, I mentioned you should be coming here more often.
Yes,
I'm excited.
I was trying to settle in Accra. And
oh, finally.
Yes, so
we predicted on this show.
You predicted, and I think you got it right.
Yeah.
So, I'm happy to be here.
Awesome.
To try a different environment and to also see what we can do for
Mother Ghana. I know, and we're excited to have you. You don't go back. No, that one will be a problem.
Yes, I hope to go back, and of course, the academia is a very challenging and interesting environment.
Yeah.
And, I hope to at least be one of the few successful guys who come in there, do something, and then go back. So
very well.
I'm looking forward to that environment sometime in the future.
Great. In the meantime, just be with us for a while. So our Prof is also joining us this morning as well. They would also be joined by Dr. Dixon Admakokisi. When we have him here, we'll definitely get into it. But this morning, we'd like to start off. And for those of you who were seeing the Able series for the very first time, we've got that series running on our platforms, on radio, television, and also online. And so very often you're going to be seeing most of that series run over here, the Able series. You're going to be seeing them run over here on this very channel. So it's very, very sad story of a very young lady who's got all his family members not able to talk even here. And so she's trying to navigate that situation by being the only person that can, interpret what they want to do, what they want to say, and all of that. A very, very touching story for that young lady. But like I said, we'll be running it over here on the show, so on this platform. So anytime you see it, you know that we're doing this for humanity. And if you need, the need be for you to also help and support that young lady over there, we would want to plead on you to also support. Anytime we put some of these human stories out there, we try as much as possible to project society and some of the things that we can all do collectively to make the society we live in a better place. So please do well and always support when we put some of these things up. Anyway, we're going to start off with the issue of the Speaker of Parliament. Yesterday, the whole thing that happened in Parliament has to do with Dr. Ayu Afriye. And there was the issue of the nurses, and he raised concerns about it. The first Deputy Speaker of Parliament was not too amused with some of the things that he was saying, and he was actually literally forced to tell the marshal to walk him out. It became a scuffle. Some minority members, defending it, others also seated and looking on it and all that. The Speaker himself returned and decided to handle the issue. But lawyer, we followed, our Parliament proceedings for a couple of years now. We've seen some of the things that have happened, even when we want to pass bill and all of that. Yesterday, I saw people put on social media that these are the kind of people that we are respecting in Parliament and all of that. And then we have a long way to go. In fact, the entire Parliament itself and the kind of name that they've gotten for themselves over the years. Do you think that we've gotten to a point where the Speaker has to be very firm on some of these things in terms of all these chaos in Parliament?
Good morning to our viewers. Prof, good morning.
Good morning.
You are laying the responsibility on the Speaker.
He's the head of the House.
And you don't think members of Parliament should be disciplined enough to know the rules and responsibilities in Parliament? Is that what we're saying? Are they schoolboys? Are they schoolgirls?
No.
To be whipped into line?
It looks as though that's what
They
makes
are
them
adults.
be in line.
They are adults. The first responsibility, so far as I'm concerned, of any parliamentarian is to respect their constituents. It's their constituents who put them there. And in situations where you find, because this is atrocious in terms of it getting into fisticuffs. No, it's atrocious so far as I'm concerned. Parliament is a house of laws. Parliament is a part of governance. Huge respect should be given to the office, not to the individuals. And as I keep saying, in this country, personalities overrule laws. Are there no laws in the House of Parliament? Is it up to the Speaker to tell adult men and women how to behave? Is it up to the Speaker? I don't think so. I feel there's a certain disrespect in Parliament, disrespect for each other. Because I don't understand how you have that attitude in Parliament, but the moment you leave Parliament, you're sitting with the same people you're disrespecting and eating lunch. and going to places with.
And that's the norm.
Is it a charade that you're showing the people of Ghana? What are you trying and what are they trying to achieve? What are they trying to show us? Yes, they're politicians. But do politicians have to act in a way that is so atrocious? I don't think so. If for nothing at all, respect the people of Ghana. If you feel you're making an argument that is not taken, what do? Apologize and sit down. I don't see how, and sometimes I see the minority leader do it, especially when the deputy speaker, yes, is in the chair, that he will speak over him, although he's telling him to sit down, although he's not accepting the arguments he's making. And the speaker has the power in Parliament, isn't it? Should we not respect that power? And this is how it now flows into the general mass, flows into supporters of the different political parties in Parliament. Because they see their leaders acting in a certain way that doesn't connote the kind of respect we should give to Parliament. At this particular moment, I feel and I find our governance structures, the weakest links within our governance structures, judiciary, legislation, maybe some parts of the executive. It doesn't bode well. If for anything at all, they should apologize to the people of Ghana. We are the power. And they tend to forget we are the power. In the next 4 years, what happens?
There's going to be another election.
Yes, and what
we decide who's the ace.
What is the process? The process is everything is abandoned in Parliament. You come to the people. You come back to the constituency. You come back to the people of Ghana.
Seek for another mandate.
To plead with us to vote for you. Have you shown us respect during that period? I don't think so. I don't think so. And it's high time we stopped. It doesn't bode well.
But it's different when the main speaker is around.
He's the speaker.
What's the difference between the deputy
and
the
main speaker? Remember, how long has Babing been speaker for?
The last 8 years he's been there.
So he's put his foot down there. He is, if I can use the word, an institution in Parliament.
That's true.
He's an institution in Parliament. And you dare not to do what? Cross over and show insolence to him, show disrespect to him. I think he did the right thing, not moving another step forward. To do what?
Referring the issue to the
Privileges Committee. Because you need a certain kind of harmony in Parliament. And what, unfortunately, the minority don't seem to understand is that the majority have overwhelming power in Parliament. And they have two responsibilities that they need to look at. To be able to work with their minority and to be able to build confidence within the people of Ghana again. Because elections will be coming back soon. And if the people of Ghana don't feel that your attitude in Parliament is helping, why will they come and vote for you? Remember, don't forget, politics and voting in Ghana has changed. It has changed.
2024 elections
tells us. And you think people aren't watching? All these things would accumulate. When it gets to election, you start interviewing people, they will refer. And do you remember, 2025, what this person said in Parliament, what this person, you think they forgot? Politicians shouldn't take Ghanaians for granted. That era is past. That era is past. And so our attitude in Parliament, our attitude in governance, our attitude on the judiciary, people are watching. Don't take it for granted. You know, as we always say, Ghana for the that is heavy. That is heavy. And it will come to bite you down the road. You think they are not watching the current government? You think they are not watching some of the things they are doing, both positive and negative? You think they are not comparing? They are. And they are putting down their notes for the next election. So I feel, if for nothing at all, first point of call, apologize. Any situation like this, where there is confrontation that doesn't work for Parliament, first thing, both minority and majority apologize to the people of Ghana. We have the power. Remember, you are our servants. All of us can't go and sit in Parliament. All of us can't go into the executive. The judiciary is a different kettle of fish because it's more technical and it needs specialized people to handle. So that is different. But you are our servants and we expect you to act in a certain way that satisfies us.
All right.
From what happened, was it the last session, all that kicking and fighting, all those types of things. Should Parliament not have learned from it? Or it happens near Refi? Something and then we start doing that thing near Refi? No. And this is where there is a code of conduct in Parliament.
Yeah. They have the standing orders.
They have the standing orders. Look, if you see yourself as a parliamentarian getting into a certain arena that would create this kind of thing, draw back. Irrespective of what your party people do. And you see, the party too becomes a challenge. Because at the back of what parliamentarians do, the party pushes. No, but why didn't you take him on? Why did when they go into caucus on their own? Parliament is parliament without the party. The last parliament, didn't we see the strength of the political parties in parliament?
Parliament?
The way they were controlling parliament? No. So I'll end by saying maybe yes, the speaker, the deputy speaker should try and find a way of working with both the majority and the minority. In this case, two extremes. In the last, previous parliament, the MPP had plenty. But we didn't see this, did we? The one before the last, the one after the last one was a hung parliament. Yeah. We saw a
bit of that.
And now, what have we seen? One is gone far. I would have hoped that we would have learned through this trajectory. And certain things that happened then does not repeat itself again. But it doesn't seem as if we are learning.
Very well. Thank you very much, lawyer. And again, let me remind you that yesterday, the minority leader and the majority leader were both actually forced to apologize to the speaker and moving forward also affirm their cooperation in terms of some of these issues. But
that's the people of Ghana. Once you apologize to the speaker, you might say, oh, it's apologize to the speaker, the people of Ghana. No, you've personally apologized to the head of the institution, the people of Ghana. What about the people?
Okay, let me move to Prof and get Prof's takes on that as well. Prof, you saw the chaos. It always happens.
I witnessed it, and for want of better words, I think it's the breakdown of civility in Parliament. Yes, I think a seed of it was sown during the election of Speaker Gbagwin. And since that rancorous election, we have seen a gradual but steady decline of civility in Parliament, to the point that their own standing orders and institutions within Parliament have given way to knee-jerk reactions, spontaneous behavior, and disrespect for the offices, but for the persons. So it gets to a point that if the Speaker of Parliament, Speaker Gbagwin, is on the seat, then you have a certain conduct. If he's not there and it's any of the deputies, then the minority leader thinks is, okay, the cat has been constrained, let the mouse misbehave. And that is extremely disappointing. If you take that one, go to what happened during the vetting of the president's nominees. Vetting committee episode. All those despicable events points to an institution that is in the decline. And we don't need to mince words about this. Yes, you can pinpoint to key actors and key actions, and you will realize that it is the playbook of a certain side in Parliament that we do not have the numbers to make up for it. We do not have a certain cloud to be able to push our agenda. So what we want to do is adopt chaos and to force our way, and that is not right. It is like, and excuse me if I appear one-sided, it's like the minority is trying to punish Ghanaians for the outcome of the 2024 elections. That if we got that results, then we'll make sure Parliament doesn't function.
So those actions are deliberate?
Yeah, they are deliberate. I don't think they are spontaneous responses to anything. It is a deliberate attempt to either engage in a disturbance in Parliament or heckling. Yes, it's common parliamentary practice for you to interject and you to try to interfere. But now the blatant disrespect for the office of the Speaker, let me put it office, because the Speaker is an institution.
Yeah, and it covers all the three of them.
All the three of them. Yeah. So that blatant disregard, especially coming from the minority leader, somebody of his standing, speaks a lot. And this is how I see it. If any member of the minority side engages in any particular behavior, it is the leader of the side that should take responsibility. And we see it time without number, individuals engaging in some untoward behavior, unparliamentary behavior, and the Speaker, the minority leader just joins in and tries to defend it. And I believe that it is one too many disruptions. You don't need to have that level of, let me say, pedestrian behavior in the People's Parliament. You are supposed to be making laws, yet you are lawless yourselves. You are supposed to engage in civil debate, yet you are not able to even advance any logical debate on the floor of Parliament, apart from either sitting down, walking up. If the minority is not trying to interfere in the lawful duties of state agencies or security agencies doing their work, they are holding a press conference, sitting on the floor, just trying to say that this government that won an overwhelming majority and has the backing of the most significant portion of Ghana should not work. And I don't think that is right, regardless of what they do behind the scenes. At our agency, we've been engaging with them over the past weeks because of our allies they are making. Yeah. The cordiality that exists between them
is totally different from what we
So what are you telling the people of Ghana? That it doesn't matter what you do before camera, as long as you are okay privately, it's okay. The office is public office, it's not private office. Yeah. So if you cannot bring some decorum to bear in the public space, it doesn't matter what you do behind the scenes. You are hooligans. I don't want to mince words. You are hooligans. And it is becoming unbecoming of the minority.
In view of that, do you think that the Speaker should have gone ahead to, take the case up to the Privileges Committee? He decided not to.
Yes, as a senior lawyer, Jantuah said, when you are a leader, you need to look at the end game. How your actions are going to impact on the eventual outcome of things. So yes, the right course of things should have been to say, let me take this a little further and say, but you realize that it may not bring closure and may drag on the thing. And Parliament is there to do business. And I can tell you, this behavior is affecting parliamentary business. They are achieving very little and always in the media for the wrong reasons. So, yes, I agree that given the experience of Speaker Gwagwin, he might have taken the decision in favor of the people of this country, in favor of getting some work done. But and he's somebody who will not, of course, hesitate to crack the whip if he has to. But I believe that it's becoming too many for us to think that, okay, this is the usual thing. We cannot accept that as our parliament. It doesn't matter how the Right Honourable Speaker is able to diffuse tension. That is not an uncoordinated and an uncivilized institution. And the fact that they themselves cannot advance any serious civil work nowadays. In fact, we miss those days that Parliament was a place you went to learn how to engage collegially, how to disagree with each other. You can't believe that it is the same Parliament that contained people like the Honorable J.H. Mensah and the rest. You can't believe that it's the same Parliament that produced people like the Honorable Speaker Gwagwin and co. And it surprises me. I have always been telling people, look at the leader, Honorable Haruna Idrisu, for example. I've never seen him shouting or engaging in any kind of rancor to establish who he is. There are so many people in Parliament who don't have to do that to be who they are. Why don't you learn? And lastly, what I want to say is that you have first-timers in Parliament. And if you were a first-time parliamentarian now, this is the wrong institution to learn from. I can tell you it's the wrong institution to learn anything from because the examples are bad, the productivity is low, and the people of Ghana are worse off for having this kind of parliament. And the chunk of the blame goes to the Honorable Afeyomakin and his side. I think that he needs to show some leadership. I don't think this is what they selected him to do. If that is what they selected him to do, I think that the MPP ought to maybe redefine its objectives and re-strategize. That is not, it's putting off more Ghanaians. The few moderates that expect Parliament to be a place for checks and balances are losing confidence in the institution, and they are not winning many hearts.
All right. Thank you very much, Prof.
KMJ, when I saw this topic, I went back into the archives. You know, my father was the first MP for Ejuso.
Okay.
And I went back to see their time in Parliament. Absolute respect. Irrespective of the rivalry between the two sides. Absolute respect. Yes, we're running a parliamentary system for some time, but we went into presidential. But absolute respect. The question then you ask is that, what is the meaning of the term honorable? When you're being called honorable, what does it mean? The term honorable implies that the person being referred to is worthy of respect, trust, and admiration. It's a way to acknowledge their position, achievements, or contributions to society. And you should remind them that that word honorable, you should behave honorably in the House of Parliament. And as Prof rightly said, it is the office, it's not the individual. So let's hope from this point on. But, you know, sometimes too, we the people have to be blamed, though.
For what exactly?
When somebody comes up and says they're going to stand for Parliament, do we question them? Do we find their background? Do we know where they are coming from? Do we know, you know, the kind of things they've done before we vote for them? So we must do some, you know, investigations before we take on anybody who says, I want to stand for Parliament.
I think moving forward, well, after 2025, I'm sure a lot have happened that maybe, and many people will also learn from what we have seen in the past, and you know, maybe in the next elections. But you know, you also know the kind of shenanigans that goes on, you know, behind the scenes when we are going to vote for parliamentarians and all of that.
The money issue.
You think
the money issues.
Somebody will say, okay, there's 1,000 cities here. Let me scrutinize this man and see.
That's something we should stop. The general public, yes, you say that you take their money, okay, if you want to take their money, it's up to you to take their money. Do the right thing.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day...
But I have seen a certain trend that even though money is being taken now, people are mindful of who they send to Parliament.
They still take the money, but
so I think a message
they still be sure
that politicians that money won't win everything.
That's true. All right, let me engage our viewers a bit. We'll come back and look at our next conversation. This one says, good morning, KMJ. Please, I was very disappointed about the purchase of the NPP woman who was throwing herself like in Kong, who wants to beat the marshal. So is she also called herself honorable? I disagree with that. She's dishonest lady. Can she beat the marshal? NPP is full of arrogance and they don't deserve to be there. Simple. That's Daniel from home who sent in there. Let me go to Mensa. It says that let's set the record straight. NPP are making disingenuous arguments with setting up Tamaklo issue and trying to use to equalize with the Ken Ofori-Atta's fugitive status. Setting up had fully submitted herself to investigations and consistently appeared in court throughout the process. That's a far cry from Ken Ofori-Atta, who has been evading accountability from the onset. Trying to lump both cases together is nothing more than political propaganda aimed at creating false narratives. All right, this one over here says, Speaker of Parliament is too soft. From the vetting brouhaha to date, nobody has been punished. What do you expect if you have Afenyo as a minority leader? Patrick in Accra sent in that. Let me go to this one from Eben. It says, good morning, I'm Eben from Kwame Jantuah. On to right, Honorable Speaker Magbin started cracking the whip. MPs and they will continue to misbehave. I'm really disappointed in Mr. Speaker because up till now, we haven't heard anything about the misbehavior at the appointment committee. I think it is high time the Speaker do the needful by cracking the whip because the misbehavior of the micro-minority is very annoying. Regards to Mr. Akwesi Mensa of Shipyard. All right, let me go to this one over here. It says, good morning, Kemji, good morning. Please ask the NPP man what do they want to achieve. Tell him the good people of Ghana are watching. Why? I don't know who sent in that.
Which NPP man?
And I want to find out the NPP man that I'm sure it's Dr. Ayu. The Fijase MP who was involved in the whole issue, by the way. Good morning, KMJ and your panelists. I'm Big Alasko from Gary Tempani, and my greetings to all the youth in Tempani constituency. Ghanaians will be happy if Ken Ofori-Atta, to have Ken Ofori-Atta come to Ghana and face justice. I will plead with the Yoko and the NIB to speed up the extradition process to bring Ken home. In the case of Parliament, their conduct is becoming irritating to some of us. The minority don't respect the first deputy speaker anytime he's chairing the chair and must be brought to book. I think the word honorable given should be taken away because they don't behave as such. That'll be a long procedure. I'm not sure I want to start going there. The problem in the parliament is that the majority is overly tolerant and the minority lacks leadership and still reeling from the abysmal defeat in the last elections. Lord TJ in Kumasi sent in that. This one says, KMJ, what is wrong with the micro minority at all? These people call themselves lawyers, doctors, and honorables. We shall see. Jessica from the NPP thieves oral must work from what's inside Asasitre Elembele. Let me go to this one. It says, good morning, KMJ. How did we get here? Every profession is essential and it's the choice of everyone to be in a profession he or she likes. There would be an accountability on everybody on his or her chosen profession on the judgment day. Everybody must know he or she will die one day and Allah will ask him or her how he or she served Ghana on his or her chosen profession. No doubt about that. On that day, tell God about increment in salary. Who asked you to take that profession if you know you can't? You can't do its principles. KMJ. That is where the problem is. Political spider in Kintampo sent in that. Another one over here says, good morning, KMJ. The parliamentary sitting not just turn as a distraction house. They are there to serve Ghana. I can see the majority is always causing the minority. That's Baba Kingdom in Sako sent in that. Let me go to this one. It says, minority leader has been pampered too much. The speaker should take action fast before it becomes worse. Jerry in Koko sent in that. Do the last one and then we get on it. This one over here says, good morning, KMJ. Parliament, our honorable house has been turned into a house of hooligans by the minority. Kobana Anan in Takrali sent in that. You can continue sending your messages. We'll take a look at them this morning, but we'll move on and speak on the issue of OSP versus Ken Ofori-Atta, the legal drama of Wanted Man. Now, NIB Iyoko, we understand, are also investigating Ken Ofori-Atta, and as a matter of fact, his extradition is something that they're working vehemently to ensure that we're able to bring him back home. And lawyer, let me start off with you. You didn't see this coming, did you? That there are other state institutions that are also looking forward to interrogating Ken. Right now, he's been tagged a wanted man as well. NIB and Yoko are all looking for him. How bad can this get?
I don't understand why this thing is delaying.
We have an easier way out.
The easier way out is for Ken to produce himself.
The OSB has tried everything.
It's simple.
He's a wanted man now.
It's simple. You see, Ken should prove that he can't travel. For me, that is the crux. He should prove he can't travel. Nobody, and I hope I'm right in what I'm saying, nobody wants to see Ken Ofori-Atta dragged into this country in handcuffs. The principle of he is innocent until proven guilty is key. They are talking that he should be, what? Questioned in absentia.
Yeah.
What's that? What's that? Has he given a statement?
Not yet.
Not yet. Wouldn't the OSP need him to give a statement? And before he gives his statement, do they not have to interview him?
His lawyers want that done.
To find, come on. Do they determine how the OSP works? The OSP says, I want to see the man.
Maybe based on his condition.
Have they been able to prove his condition completely? Have they?
Well, not to the best of...
Not to the best of... Exactly. Not. What about to the best of Ghanaians?
Well...
What about the best?
Because it's all about Ghana. Anyway.
It's all about Ghana. And I feel his legal team are not helping him. If he can travel, look, when people are sick in this country, sometimes if they can't travel, how do they take them out?
They put you in a wheelchair?
Air ambulance.
Oh, okay.
With all the medical teams around you.
At whose cost?
It should be the cost of Ken. If he really respects Ghanaians.
He's ready to foot that bill.
If he really feels that he can prove his innocence. Wontumi, what happened? What happened with Wontumi?
The arrest by you.
Didn't the party find the bail money or the bail guarantee to get him out?
Yep.
And you're trying to tell me that the party can't do that? If they love Ken Ofori-Atta so much, you're trying to tell me they cannot do that? Anyway, let me ask the question. Was Ken Ofori-Atta the only minister in the Ministry of Finance?
No.
The offenses that have been outlined by the OSP, was Ken Ofori-Atta the only one who handled it?
No. He had a deputy.
He had a deputy. Why aren't we looking at those ones too? Because those ones, if they are now taken in and are now questioned, it would put pressure on Ken to come back because of some of the things they might say. So why are we only targeting Ken? The finance ministry was made up of what? Chief directors, deputy ministers, people who worked on some of the documents.
Board and committee.
All of that. The 200 million, is 200 million or $58 million for the big hole in the cathedral.
Yeah.
It just didn't come up like that. It went through some processes. Meetings were had. Notes of those meetings are there in the ministry. Why aren't you going down that route too? Because whatever the case is, whatever the case is, if you have prostate, they treat it. You cannot say after your surgery and after that, you are not coming. You would have to come and face whatever it is. So far as I'm concerned, if Ken can travel, he should come. I don't agree with my good friend
Kofi
Bentil.
He says he would advise him not to even step a foot in this country.
You see, there needs to be some discussion with regards to, and I think what is scaring a lot of the MPP people and even Ken himself, that if he comes and his health condition goes in a certain way, would he be allowed to go back? Will they seize his passport? The guarantees that they will need from him, will it be outrageous? Would he be able to make sure that whatever the case is, if he gets worse,
You'll be able to still go back.
Those guarantees, I think, should be discussed. So that at least we get to hear the truth of the offenses and what role he played in it. Isn't that the other side of the coin where Ken is concerned? Isn't that his coming and his interviews will expose others in the then government?
Involved in.
Yeah? Expose them heavily? Is he prepared to take the fall for others? These are questions I have been asking myself because really, if you gave a certain date for surgery, was it March 21st?
Yeah, well, that was March.
And because of that, the OSP decided to give you till June 2nd, and you didn't have that surgery on that day. Why didn't you come back to the OSP and say, look, I didn't have that surgery, I can travel, I'm coming down? Shouldn't that have happened? I also asked myself the question, the conduct of the OSP in terms of how he's handling this, should it be public? Should it be public?
It's service to the public.
Could it be done in a certain way that doesn't create the kind of furore that stops Ken from coming?
You believe that is the reason why Ken is refusing?
I'm not saying, I'm asking a question that should, the way it's being handled by the OSP, yes, all the processes that have to be done should be done, but should it be in public? Because you hear commentary that perhaps is being done in public because there's probably some spat, private spat between the OSP and Ofori-Atta. I don't want to believe that because the private spat is the private spat.
Well, he's answered that several times that this is not a personal
Exactly.
vendetta.
Exactly. So when you get a letter from the family of Ofori-Atta, yes, it's their right to write whatever they want to write. But where does that fit into anything? Nobody, not even the president, can dictate how the OSP does its job. And he feels that is the way. But anyway, before anybody is charged with any offense, do you not interview the person? And with the OSP, he's got to arrest you first. And take your statements. And then based on that statements, and based on the investigation they have made, will determine whether it goes to court or it doesn't go to court. Right now, you have other agencies also saying that they have something interest in you. What then do you do? If all these institutions decide, okay, we are all going to Interpol, we want this man here, who does it help? It creates a scene for our own country. And what is Ken trying to prove?
His innocence.
He's trying to prove, but is that the way? If this is the question I'm asking. If he can travel, maybe the OSP needs to take a step further and say, okay, fine, I'm coming over. His going over is not to go and interview him in another jurisdiction. His going over is to go and see whether the man is fit to travel, is to go and talk with his hospital to see whether the man can travel, to be honest enough to bring that information back to Ghanaians and say, we went, we saw, these are some of the things we looked at, and yes, the man can travel and he's refusing to travel, and no, the man can't travel because of A, B, C, D, E. However, sitting with his hospital, they have said, by this time, we feel it will be okay to travel. Now, prostate is cancerous, is it? How many people have got prostate cancer in this country? There will be plenty.
Yeah.
Are they not still walking around? Are they not still walking around? Has Ken's prostate, if that is what is the challenge, has it got to a point of death that if he leaves where he is, it can create massive challenges where he can die? Has it got to that point? For me, these are some of the things the OSP can send his good companion, Samuel, go and check. This is what the man is saying. Go and check. We don't say go and interview him. Go and check. We want to interview him on Ghanaian soil. However, go and check.
Let's be sure.
Let's be sure what he's saying is true. You check and you say it's true, come back and tell us. If you check and see it's not true, then tell us what the next steps are. Because really, this circus is not helping anybody.
Okay.
It's not even helping Ken himself. Because the Ghanaian public are beginning to get, what? Irritated by this. The offenses are grave. And I would have hoped the MPP would also help in getting Ken out of this misery. If he is innocent, he should come and prove his innocence. Yes, right now, he's an innocent man. But the laws of the country have a certain stipulation and a certain way in which we investigate. This is the first line of investigation. We need to. My good relative, Cecilia Dapa, did they not take a statement from her? Did not take a statement from her husband?
Yeah.
That money, was it government money? It wasn't their own private money, but they took a statement. This has got to do with government. This has got to do with Ghanaian money, which we are all interested in. I'm saying you put all the others aside. Cathedral alone. Cathedral alone. Unfortunately, we cannot bring in President Akufo-Addo because he's immune. The next person is the finance, and I'm saying that with even that, there were people in the ministry who handled, who went for meetings, who sat, who took notes, where members were sent. All that information is there.
But lawyer,
let's look at that.
Yeah, lawyer, let me, for the last weeks, we've seen how some of these arrests have been handled. The way they go about it, the institutions go about it. If I'm Ken, I'm sitting where I'm sitting right now and I'm listening to all this, from Woon to me, to all those that have been, the Rambo style thing, you think I would be so safe in my mind that if I step foot in Ghana right now, I won't be seeing what has happened to Woon to me happening to me?
I don't understand why we arrest people in a Rambo style. Really. I don't understand why we arrest people with guns and soldiers going to people's homes.
It's become a thing.
I don't understand it. I would have expected government to say something about it. I would have expected the institutions to come and explain to us Why? They are also servants to the people. And if the people don't understand a certain line, explain to them. Not unless you have the intelligence, you have the evidence that the person you are going to arrest has weapons in their house, and there's likely to be a confrontation. Otherwise, why the Rambo style? What are we trying to prove? This bit where they are going to arrest somebody, then the whole MPP amass themselves and go to the person's house and tell the person, we will not go to allow...
And eventually stop the arrest.
Why? It questions our rule of law. It questions our system of arrest. It questions it. Why should a political party do that? The most a political party could do is get your lawyers together, meet him at the police station.
Not the house.
Not the house where the arrest is taking place. Not the house. Because institutions like Yoko, sometimes they don't even need a warrant to come and arrest you. I remember in my father's times, when they always came to arrest him, they didn't come with soldiers. Even that was military. Even that was military. They came with police. They said, Jantuah, you are wanted at Asokwa police station for questioning because you wrote this. You get up and you go. It happened to us so many times that after a while, it became a normal thing for us, the children. And we even became friends with some of them. So I don't understand why we should go that Rambo style. What is the essence of that? What is the objective of that? I don't see how soldiers should be the one arresting. It is the duty of police. The police are there for civilian situations. So I can't answer that question, why that Rambo style is. But are we saying when Ofori-Atta lands at Kotoka International Airport, the Rambo style will come in?
I doubt, but that's a big question that we'll probably answer a bit later. Let me go to Prof and get his take on that. Prof, Kofi Bentil says that he shouldn't come to Ghana. If you were to advise him, he would tell him never to step foot here.
Yeah, I will start my response from where Kofi Jantuah, Kwame Jantuah left off. And why the Rambo style? I think that it is the architecture the MPP has created around anyone who is of interest to the security agencies. That has necessitated the need for people to come to your house with guns and for people to be accosted on the high streets. You look at what happened in the case of Wuntomi, for example. The first arrest, and then after his release, Yoko picked him up in Rambo style. Why? They knew if they go to his house, another scene will be amassed, they will come and sing MPP national anthem. In fact, that national anthem is being denigrated to the point that it is sung where somebody who is deemed to have broken the laws of this country is being called to account, and you are singing it. So much as I don't like it, I think it is being occasioned by the deliberate attempt of the minority to make it impossible for the security agents to civilly carry out their mandate. If you are calling people to come and I'm coming to arrest you, definitely I'll arm myself. Definitely.
Because the others who have also gone by themselves and have been asked questions and they have left without anybody knowing.
That's what I'm saying.
There are records of that.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that the behavior of the security agencies has been occasioned by what the minority, unfortunately, under Honorable Afenyomakin, is doing when people are being called to account. And you can't just blame the institutions that they go there in Rambo. If I am a policeman and I see the first reaction, when I'm going there, probably I'll do everything to make sure that I don't become a victim of circumstance in the execution of my lawful duties. So, is the kinds of
they have themselves to be blamed for that.
But is it the soldiers or the police who have to go?
What we know is it's supposed to be the police.
Yes. No, but what I'm saying is that if the police need the help of the military to execute an arrest, that's why the security agencies, they have to collaborate. Why? It is because people are resisting arrest. People people are calling people to mass up at certain locations and make sure that people who have genuine questions to answer for their stewardship in government are not taken into custody and asked questions. We have turned the process of investigations and interrogations into conviction and condemnation or incarceration. And that is the problem I have. The fact that somebody is being taken to the police station or to Iyoko for questioning doesn't mean that the fellow is being sent to jail. So far, who has been sent to jail?
So the NPP do not understand what it means for somebody to be invited?
Yeah, that is a problem.
After all these years,
after all these years, the party
they don't understand why an individual has to be invited.
In fact, if the NDC was behaving this way, maybe I may understand that they have their roots in a revolution and other things. But they are now the model of civility in this country, and that is a problem.
But Prof, not the army.
The party, no, you know this country.
Because the police should be strong enough to handle this issue.
You know this country.
You don't have to get to a point where the army is involved.
This country. You know this country.
I don't see why.
You know this country.
The police should be armed enough. When I say armed enough, should have all the capacity and capability to arrest anyone they need to arrest.
One thing we are
not unless we are saying the police do not have the power to act where the capacity they have, they can use to act. Maybe that's what we are saying. Because the police is an embodiment of the law. The moment you see a policeman, he is the law.
But it always feels different when you have the army. When you have the army involved.
What matters?
Based on the perception that we have.
That mindset should stop.
What matters is the lead agency. Who is effecting the arrest? Yeah, we see the president, he has police protection or he has whatever. And sometimes you have the military support.
Also, yeah.
So if the police are going to effect an arrest,
he's
and the military...
And the military...
That is
so we can have the army there.
That is true.
The military, the security agencies are allowed to collaborate in the execution of their mandate. And where they think that a situation is volatile and the presence of the military can help, I think it has to be done. It has to be done because of the environment that has been created to the point that the police is always forced to behave in certain actions. We are Ghanaians. Let's look at the cultural context. There is a certain respect we accord the military that we do not accord the police. It doesn't matter.
That's what lawyer believes that we don't have to get there.
The police should be seen as such. We have gotten there. The one who has to answer the question has to go and answer the question. And let me say, go to my substantive.
Yeah.
I speak on behalf of every chicken thief, goat thief, that is currently in jail, who has not been found guilty, but is serving time, awaiting his prosecution. That Ofori-Atta, honorable, I should say, must be brought to this country in whatever circumstance. There are people who are in our jails today, and lawyer knows, who have not been found guilty, who are sick, and are not getting medical treatment. Ofori-Atta should not be treated.
Is that right?
This is business class.
No,
yeah, even it's wrong.
Prof, it's wrong.
No, let me hear. You are
endorsing that?
I am not endorsing it. I am not endorsing it, but wealth and status should not be a determinant of how we treat Ghanaians. That is what I'm going to say. That if somebody who stole a few tubers of yam has his rights curtailed,
it's wrong,
and none of us is talking about it, we shouldn't give this business class justice delivery to the Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta. This is like business class travel. I have seen people chained to hospital beds. They are not found guilty. They are still going to be tried in this country. I've seen people who are probably maybe in the process of something, fall sick, are under serious medical condition, and a policeman is there guarding them. If any of you haven't seen me, tell me I'm wrong. Why? Status. That is wrong. It doesn't matter the legalities. If you can allow that in this country, despite our laws, the Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta has to face it. And if the special prosecutor has to design a customized aeroplane that will allow Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta to be brought to this country to face justice, it is justice for everyone who is currently in our jails, waiting trial, but is suffering punitive measures because of our justice system. We can't pick and choose based on personalities. I believe that everybody has to face the same standards, regardless of who they are. We can talk legalities. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm talking of the reality here, that the country we live in here, people have spent several years in jail and have not been found guilty yet of crimes that are less than what the Honorable Ofori-Atta is not facing civil action. It's a criminal case. A criminal case is a criminal case. So until we improve the justice delivery for every Ghanaian, regardless of their class and ethnicity, we should
even health.
We should deliver the same standard to everybody. So if the special prosecutor is listening to me, I want him to go to wherever Honorable Ofori-Atta is, seek the right permissions, and if they have to chain him to a hospital bed even during an operation, let them do that. That will be justice to every Ghanaian. I don't want us to garnish.
From what we have seen in the last few weeks, you don't think we're fighting a losing battle?
You see?
Yeah, we are fighting to defend the status quo that provides a different class of justice for the rich and connected, whilst condemning poor people sometimes who take something just to survive to death. I come from Northern Ghana. I don't have the names you people are mentioning. I know people, family members who are still in jail because they probably stole something to eat and survive. Our justice system has not given them a chance to even prove. So we can't sit here and pretend that we are trying to ensure that there is justice for everybody. This is not justice for everybody. This is a way of apartheid in justice delivery, that the rich have a different standard and the poor should face a different standard. So I am not comfortable with that until we fix it.
So let me ask you a question. And please, Ghanaians, I'm not trying to create a scene that isn't there. Let me ask you a question. How many of us with the same ailment of the vice president can be taken abroad?
Not many. Not many. Not many. But let's see, you see, it's his office.
No, I'm referring to your analogy
of the health situation.
That there are people in jail who should be treated the same way. Will we all be treated that way if we have the same ailment? No. Life is such that there are some who would have
that special.
Exactly. That is. I'm not saying it's right.
Some would have it.
No, I want to disagree with Lawyer Jantuah on that. That even as we sit here, health delivery, that is a commodity determined by price. Who can afford it? You get it. Right now, if I'm sick, there are certain hospitals I cannot go to by virtue of who I am. No. The fact that you were somebody before you enter politics doesn't mean that you should decrease yourself to a certain standard. Are you trying to say that the vice president couldn't have afforded medical care abroad?
Beg to differ.
No, you don't have to beg to differ. I'm saying that, are you trying to tell me that the vice president could not have afforded medical treatment abroad if she fell sick? So that analogy is completely flawed. What I'm saying is that it's a justice system that delivers
and everybody must go through it.
You go through it.
The reason why I beg to differ is that it is the responsibility of every government in this country to make sure that we have adequate and good health care. Good health care where anybody who is sick, anybody with any ailment can go to our hospitals and get treated.
I agree.
Exactly. And that is the crux. That is the crux of my argument.
I agree with you.
That if you don't have hospitals that everybody can go to and get decent help, that is where the disparity comes in.
I agree.
With people up there and people down there. Remember, we vote them into power.
I understand that we have Dr. Democracy on the other side on Zoom. Let me try and engage him a bit. Doc, good morning. Hello, Doc, can you hear me? Hello? Hello, Doc, if you can hear me, you're mute.
Yes, sorry, I can hear you now.
Very well. Thanks for joining us. You were supposed to have been here, but due to some circumstances, you couldn't. But it's good to have you on Zoom join us this morning. If you've been following the conversation, we're speaking on the Ofori-Atta issue. NIB Yoko, we understand, are all interested in interrogating him.
Yes, in fact, I think I can be public with why I'm not there. It's the nurses' strike. It's got me working a little bit overtime.
Okay.
That's why I couldn't come in. But the OSP versus Ken, there are two key things. One, I think anybody who's been holding public office needs to be accountable to the people of Ghana. I don't have any problem with that. But secondly, I think that all avenues ought to be exhausted before we, as it is, denigrate the name of Ghana in the international circles. And I say this with the greatest of respect to everybody. I feel that the OSP also needs to be checked, and that he's overreaching in terms of some of the things he's doing. I say this largely because of the, other extraordinary impact on our own finance ministry, in the sense that, we are trying to work on our indices. Let's be very frank with ourselves that, our indices are not good, and our reputation isn't good in terms of our credibility. And if we slap, corruption, huge corruption, high-profile case like this on top of, our credibility, it will sink us further. But I'm not saying that we shouldn't prosecute, but the path and the way and manner in which is being done is where I worry. And I think that the special prosecutor has been a bit too exuberant, and that, like many cases during the exploratory period, or as it is, questioning, I think that considering all that Ken has said, he could have, forgive me to say, flown even to America to, one, ascertain whether truly he's not well, and three, to ascertain if, some of the questions he has for him, he could answer in person if he's there. I'm not, I heard Prof talking, this will not be a privileged questioning. Ultimately, you want some questions answered, and you need to exhaust all possible avenues. Supposing that Ken was on a life support in his house in Ghana, and you can't take him off life support if certainly he is not well. You cannot take him off life support if you've not proven to the letter that he's guilty. And if that was the case, what would special prosecutor do? Will he still insist that they take him on life support to come see him? Or will he go to Ken's hospital bed and address the issue? So I know there are legal nuances, but I also know that he did not exhaust all available avenues. And what are those 3 or 21 questions? He needs to let us know as well, move the public along. And this is not a court of necessarily public opinion, but I think that he's overreaching, and he needs to also be checked. In the process of prosecuting, ordinarily, a judge would be the one to give you a warrant for arrest, ordinarily, not the same person prosecuting. So with that logic, I think that, we should see the OSP like any prosecutor who, if is not checked, will overdo what the law allows him to do. And with the greatest of respect to Prof, I'm of the opinion that it's always innocent until proven guilty. And for me, if a person who has stolen eggs or chicken does not find it necessary to marshal family support to fight their case, you can't fault another person who wants to use his resources to fight, a supposed criminal charge. So in totality, or in summary, my key thing is that prosecution is necessary. Accountability after holding a high office is important. However, if for a very serious illness condition, the person is unable to fly out, other avenues need to be exhausted, other avenues need to be looked at, and the special prosecutor needed some level of clearance, I think, before moving this into an Interpol matter, because in summary, this would adversely impact our country's reputation, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, but
it's not just about Ken.
Yeah, speaking of that, don't you think, I'm asking, is the NPP not worried about all this back and forth? If we have any way to ensure that the lawyers of Ken are able to prove beyond every reasonable doubt in terms of medical records that he's not fit, and because according to ASP, the medical reports that he has seen are not medical reports that indicate that this person cannot move or cannot do A, B, C, D. And so if the party cares enough, because he served under your administration, you think that you will not be advising that he shows up or do whatever it is possible to ensure that the OSP believes that whatever document he's given out in terms of his medical records is what they need?
The party is guided by the past and the current behavior of the new administration, and there's a lot of backroom negotiations going on in favor of the law. And the party will not necessarily come out and tell you everything that the party is doing with regards to dialogue with Ken Ofori-Atta.
Okay.
But ultimately, we think that the special prosecutor also has the option to do in absentia, and that ought to be also really considered.
He's ruled out totally. It's not something he wants to even explore. He wants the man in person.
That is why I say that the special prosecutor is overreaching in the sense that he needs to be checked. Listen, the prosecutor for the American president is not all powerful. He works within the confines of the law. And listen, a prosecutor does not take is not lord over himself. I mean, listen. I hold that office in high esteem. However, even the president is checked by the legislature. The president cannot go to war by himself. He cannot declare war by himself. There's a reason for that. And I'm saying that the special prosecutor needs to be checked. I think he's, maybe even to go to Interpol in the future, there needs to be a parliamentary approval for that. I mean, I'm just saying this, or a judicial approval before a special prosecutor can do this. I think that, it's a grave mistake on his part. Personally, I think it's a grave mistake, and especially when he did this momentarily after hearing that the person of interest wishes to do it by Zoom. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, the Fiamapo, who's an NDC staunch member of Parliament, even is questioning the special prosecutor for not, considering the Zoom option. It is just a discovery process. It is just questioning, and if there are no other intentions, which are unbeknown to all of us, then asking your suspect 22 or 23 questions to then be very firm in your mind that you have a case to prosecute.
Okay.
Why must you have the person in person? Whose health we currently listen. And let me be very straightforward with all of us.
Okay, wrapping up for me.
This is the same person that Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo waited for about 6 months to give him his confirmation in the second tenure. And his not being well is known to Ghanaians. People even thought he would, kaput whilst in office. I mean, there were rumors. You understand? So this is not like somebody who all of a sudden, after serving his term, has become sick. We've known. And he even...
He was able to, even under that circumstances, health condition, he was able to still serve the entire term.
No, I'm making my point that his illness is not something...
Yeah, so the question will also be that if your illness was not good enough and you were able to serve all the time, why are you now then unable to come and answer questions after your tenure?
No, he was let go. Let's be honest about that too. He was let go. I mean, there were many reasons why we asked that he depart. And I think that Ghanaians in the future may come to know all the whys. But ill health certainly was one of the things, only that culturally Ghanaians don't talk about it, but I must admit today that ill health was one of the reasons which we felt was making it difficult for him to, as it is, prosecute his job. And these are key reasons.
As in serve well in his capacity as a finance minister.
Oh,
when you say prosecute his job.
Exactly, it was one of the reasons, and we must admit. I mean,
did he resign?
I don't want to go into.
But
did he resign?
He was still at post.
Yes,
He didn't resign.
he came to read the budget.
You even had to ambush your own to keep him in office.
Conundrum. Let me say that the American Army general, which we all know, was even queried when he went under knife for prostate, related health matter just last year or so. Yes. So this thing is not new. Health is very, serious when you are holding public office, and unfortunately, in Africa or in Ghana, our disclosure of health whilst we're in public office is limited.
Okay,
and these are all things that we need to
lawyer wants to also speak on this. So let me.
Ofori-Atta can sit in America, ill health, and have a Zoom meeting. He has the strength to sit and have a Zoom meeting with his health not being good. Why would he not let us know? He should prove to us that his health is not good. Look, the question I ask, what is going to be the duration of these Zoom meetings? Let me refer to the offenses they're investigating. 1, petroleum and minerals revenue assurance. Control between Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited and GRA. 2, electricity contract termination, cancellation of ECG's agreement with Beijing BXC. 3, National Cathedral, procurement and payment processes. 4, ambulance deal, Ministry of Health contract for 307 ambulances. 5, GRA tax P fund, handling and disbursement of tax fund account. How many Zoom meetings would we need to have to go through these 5? Vis-a-vis, he's sitting in front in person. So what are we talking about? I don't understand why. If he can travel, and for me that is what the OSP should go and verify. If the man can travel, he should come and answer these.
That cost will be what the OSP's cost. I don't know how that works. I'm asking for the lame Ghanaian.
The OSP wants him.
If he wants to go there.
The OSP wants him.
Yes, that would be the government cost.
The OSP, I understand they're getting diplomatic passports.
Well, in his office, most definitely.
They didn't have it in the last review.
Yeah.
They're getting diplomatic passports. Because we want fairness. Reasonable man test. Fairness should be shown. Yes, government should sponsor somebody from the OSP because of the graveness of the offenses labeled on him, should go and ascertain for Ghanaians first whether the man can travel. I'm not interested in him going there and sitting him and talking to him. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in Ofori-Atta coming, but we need to be able to assess, especially when 21st March, the so-called surgery didn't take place. It was a biopsy. Biopsy is not surgery. They take your blood and test whether you have this particular ailment.
A doctor from Kolebu explained that in fact, it was exactly been done here.
We need to ascertain whether the man can travel. And if he can travel, under what condition can he travel? Let's ascertain that first. If he can't travel, then we look at alternatives. But if he can, and the doctors can say, yes, he can travel, probably after such a duration, then let's work that duration and get him to come down. I don't understand why the MPP is stretching this thing. It bodes well for everybody. MPP, government in power, OSP, the judiciary, it bodes well for all of us to be able to get over this situation. At the present moment, one of the reasons why we cannot pay nurses is because the money isn't there. That is important. We shouldn't be wasting our time on Ken Ofori-Atta. We shouldn't. It's a straightforward thing. That
are you disappointed the way the NPP has handled this situation? Do you think
yes, I'm disappointed. Yes, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed. Why? Because it's got to do with the country Ghana. The offenses have got to do with the country Ghana, and they should be interested, not unless they find there would be others who will be implicated, and they're trying to protect those others too. Because I don't understand it. If you say the man isn't well, prove to us that he can't travel. Simple. You can be unwell, but still be able to travel. People who have the kind of ailment Ken Ofori-Atta have travel all the time for medical, abroad, and come back.
Doc still insists that earlier he spoke about the fact that the party is doing something behind the scenes.
I would love a situation where Doc himself, he's a doctor, decides, okay, I'm going to see and bring exactly.
Doc, a lawyer wants you to go there and make that decision.
I only wanted
for
to draw lawyer Jantuah's attention to the fact that, you know what, I mean, not to mention names, but even when we're in power, it was difficult to bring one or two of our members home. So let's be mindful of that maybe.
What do you mean? What do you say?
Two of your members home.
What do you mean?
Well,
Anjoa Safo, for instance.
That's a different kettle of fish. That's a different kettle of fish.
So I'm only just drawing your attention to the fact that it might not necessarily be a party position that.
Was Anjoa Safo in court?
No, she was out of the country.
Was she in court? Did they need her in court? Did they need to? Did the special prosecutor interview? It was more parliamentary, wasn't it? Yeah. So what is my good friend saying?
But I'm just saying. I mean, I'm just making a point that. Don't think that Ken's inability.
But they shouldn't forget that they also carry somebody on a wheelchair to Parliament to go and vote during the
we saw that also happen.
So we can bring him also.
We saw that also happen.
We can bring Ken Ofori-Atta also on the same wheelchair instructor to come and face justice.
Doc, you still disagree?
No, I was just saying that it is not the party's position. This is an individual's decision.
Well, but lawyer Jantuah is disappointed. He believes that the party could have done better the way they've handled things.
No, he is a member of the party, but he still has rights as an individual.
And a minister of state, and that it's the same the government, which of course is the party.
Yes, but I mean, as it stands, I was just citing an example of even in government having a challenge to, encourage or help one of our own come. You understand? And listen, like I said, there are back-end discussions going on, and we cannot necessarily put it all public, but the party has a strong stance on being accountable to the Ghanaian people, and that will not change. And we just think that, we'll continue to persuade and to use all avenues possible to show accountability for past, administrative things that were done. And where the person is found guilty, they will be prosecuted and, as it is, arraigned in court and found guilty and then sent on to serve their term. So one, to end, OSP needs to be checked. He needs to understand that he's not an authority of himself and and that just as the president is checked by both the the judicial and the legislative.
What should he be checked branch. For? What should he be checked for?
He's overdoing.
What should he be checked for?
Which of our laws has the OSP breached? The performance of his duty? I'm not a lawyer, but I don't see.
Breaching. I am saying that the processes. So
which one?
There's nothing wrong with that.
Which process?
It's just going about his daily activities, his usual work.
My key point is that the rush to Interpol may be, just as other prosecutors seek warrant from a judge, maybe that needs to be looked at carefully. He would not have had the privilege to just rush to Interpol if there was supposed to be clearance.
But is that the law? If the law doesn't say that, that's not the law.
He has the right.
What I'm saying is that, listen, we are all talking based on current experience.
No, that's not the law. We are creating a new order here, which should not happen.
The OSP office was created as an act. And in that act...
Yes, but Doc, the OSP's decision to go to Interpol has nothing to do with the law. That's what we're trying to clear here. That is his right and decision to make. So it's not as if there's a law that bars him from going to Interpol.
That decision, just as the president cannot go to war by himself, that decision, I think, in the future...
So you mean there's a law binding that? There's a law that indicates that the OSP is not supposed to go to Interpol?
No. Okay. Hear me out. The decision to go to Interpol, I think in the future, needs to be looked at by a body, either a judicial body, to give clearance or approval to the OSP.
Another special
and I'm saying this in the likeness of all prosecutors who need warrant to go into people's house, need warrant to arrest. That is why I'm saying that it should be mirrored to the OSP as well. Because if you don't do that, youthful exuberance or an exuberant OSP will do things that are not in similitude with what is required by law. And I think Prof has to appreciate where I'm coming from. If next government is not NDC and the OSP then is overreaching, he will appreciate what I'm saying.
No.
If they were in power and the shoe were on the other foot, will they do what they're doing?
I want us to be honest here. Has the special prosecutor breached any act in the instrument establishing?
Well, not that has come up.
And we are talking as if the OSP is just one dumb guy who rushed to the Interpol without reason. He's an office that is operating based on intelligence. Definitely, I think that there are certain factors that have been taken into consideration to arrive at the point that the former finance minister has become a fugitive from justice. I don't think that he just got up. There is a timeline of events. In fact, Ken Ofori-Atta came to this country and then the OSP allowed him to leave. Is that not the case? Even when he was wanted. So the same OSP that accorded him all his rights, invited him, he came, allowed him to go, made a roadmap with him, agreed that he should come back to this jurisdiction at a certain point in time. And the Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta didn't show up. There have been indications that there have been several calls, so many efforts to get him into this jurisdiction. He hasn't come. So let's not talk as if the OSP just got up and, as a first option, decided to put the Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta on an Interpol red notice. Let's not think of it. I'm not an advocate for lawlessness. I'm only infuriated by the lopsided application of this, that others who have committed less crimes haven't been given that privilege, and we shouldn't accord it. I'm not saying we shouldn't defend, we shouldn't want our system to work. But if it doesn't work for others, it should not work for others. That's where I am coming from. Okay. Yes, it's aspirational. We must get to that point. But all I'm saying is that I don't see the OSP doing anything. I'm one of the people who said the OSP was going after small fishes. And people who have committed less crime, this same OSP, have more or less subjected them to a standard I felt if they were bigger fishes or higher in their standing in society, a different standard will be applied to them. I want to see the special prosecutor follow through on this red notice and get Ken Ofori-Atta back to this country. Only then and then would I have confidence in his office. Okay.
This one says, good morning, KMJ. Happy birthday to Honorable Dakwa, a hard-working assembly member of HM, Ahim Bronos. So your tireless service to the NDC. And okay, all right. So it's a happy birthday message for Mabo Michelle Bechim Adadiase. Okay, I said we'll be doing more of your birthday messages for you this morning as well. So do send it to our WhatsApp page. We'll take care of that. We're going to be doing some messages if we can And okay, I'll try and see if we can do some few messages. But our time is up, basically. Doc. Hello, Doc, are you there?
I'm still here.
Okay, our time is up. Any last words you want to say quickly, and then we'll go. I'll come back to the studio, and then we're done.
My only words are that, healthcare is struggling in the country, and I'm troubled by it. And I would hope that government, though they've consistently stripped the human capital of their benefits, nurses and doctors are leaving the country, and I think we need to rather even create more incentives for them to stay and work. So with the greatest of respect and in all humility, I'm hoping that the engagement gets better and that people at the table, including Rashid Pelpo and the likes of Finance Minister, should make this work for the nurses, and then they should not renege on a former government contract, and that is what I think. I see it as a renegement of former governmental contract. And let me add that Akando was ranking member and has been privy to the content and the ins and outs of all of these contracts prior to December 7th, and should have put this as the front burner issue and had it in the budget before now. So if we found a way of introducing 5.7 billion overnight, we should be able to address this overnight. Okay. Thank you very much.
Very well. Thank you so much for joining us this morning here on the show as well. That's Dr. Dixon Adumakukwesi. He's former MP for Nyansotun. Doc, I appreciate you. Lawyer.
Is it possible? This particular nurses strike is a huge challenge. One of the things they refer to is the fact that the budget for the presidency is way above what they are asking for. For me, the key is that we don't have money. Is it possible, and this is an out idea, that we cut that budget? Is it what, 78 million?
Which one? The one that
the one for Felix's.
We're looking at 2 billion annually.
Okay. Can we
in an excess of 2 billion?
Can we cut some of that and handle the nurses' challenges? Is that possible? Where can we shave certain things off?
And then push in there.
Push in there. At least we don't have the money, but we need to satisfy some of the conditions.
But that's the negotiation they are not ready to actually set.
But they should be able to. It depends on how they trust government. You see, the challenge we have here is that nurses and doctors and teachers have continuously had negotiations with government. And I'm not talking about only this government. In this Fourth Republic.
Past governments have all done that.
Have they been able to fulfill?
That's where the issue is. So there's the trust that you mentioned.
The trust element that is in there doesn't give them the confidence that if they sit and negotiate, it would be done.
Those things will be met.
So we need to go outside the box and say, okay, you look at the budget, and you said you did not put the nurses' agreement and what they're looking for in the budget. Yeah. There was a reason. I'm sure they looked at the financial status of the country and said, if we put this in the budget.
This was in court. It was being injuncted.
I'm saying,
you couldn't have put something on the budget.
Whatever the case is. Let's say they could have put it in there, and they didn't. And if they put it in there, will they have the wherewithal to fulfill what is in the budget? No. Looking at the state of our financial situation today. And that is where sometimes I look at the MPP and I ask the question, you've been out of power for only 5 months. You are aware of the financial state of the country. You are out of power 5 months, and you're what? Putting sansan in the gari as if you had nothing to do with it. Isn't this a situation where we can, because this is a national issue, where we can plead? We beg of you. This is affecting Ghanaians. We plead with you. Let's see how best we can do this. Yes, we can shave here, we can shave there, we can shave here, we can shave there. Do some and then put some in the future. So that at least the health service can work. The health service itself
is comatose.
And imagine now.
And then now that the people are not there,
okay. Prof, I come to you for the last question, but let me do a few messages. This one says Lawyer Jantuah wants to shape the goalpost by comparing the VIP's illness with Ken's own, if one can afford health care anywhere.
I never said that.
However, Ken must come and
I never
answer.
said that.
Simple. This is no this is not what he said. Let me go to this point. It says that, good morning. We pray for Ghana, greetings to my General Secretary Lawyer Justin Kodua. Okay. Greetings. KMJ, good morning, KMJ. By now, Ken have asked the management of the hospital to back him in case the OSP comes over. And so do everything within your power to sit in Ghana and let him come. Or else go in for the deputy and others in that office. We are suffering in Ghana. Common food, very hard to get. Why? And says KMJ, since he could travel from abroad to come and read budget, he can still travel to come and have this conversation. OSP is going nowhere. He should come to Ghana. Else, Sadat sent in that. And this one over here, that's our very good friend writing us our thesis this morning again. Let me see what I can do. It says, good morning, KMJ. Was it out of order for the ranking member of the Health Committee of Parliament to do what he was seeking to do? Having an overwhelming majority doesn't give any leader the right to abuse the power or right of others. You see, we pretend too much in this country. In the last Parliament, NDC did a lot of worse things, but today they are not able to take a tip of their iceberg. Now, tell Prof that it is not news if NPP parliamentarian sat on the bare floor. Many others parliamentarians did it by even dressing all black or red or a mixture of two colors unless he was not in the country. No one in his right senses will ask Ken to come home with this Rambo-style kind of arrest happening in the country when the man is not feeling well. Looking at what happened with Wontumi, Adenta Kumi, and the raiding of houses, including the former finance minister's house, and the gross disrespect for the former vice president by denying him from seeing Wontumi when he was in custody. KMJ, personally, if I'm Ken, even with the slightest headache, I won't come to the country as it is certain that they are on a political witch hunt. Who in this country doesn't know that Ken is sick? I asked Lawyer Jantuah if he is Ken, whether he would come. Just on a light note, I know lawyer would dare to come to Ghana with this Rambo style of government. And finally, what Prof said has affirmed my stand, and my advice to Ken is that if he can, is that he shouldn't step in the country even if he's having a headache. And that's my very good friend Nanton Du.
We are bypassing the issue. Mm-hmm. The actual reason why we won't care, we are bypassing it. Mm. And that the offenses are grave.
Yeah, those lists, there's not a joke. This one says, I don't understand Mr. Jantuah on this kind of Ofori-Atta's issue. How are the Ofori-Atta, how is Ofori-Atta going to be welcomed by the OSP abroad to sit down and drink tea? Will anybody be granted similar privilege?
No, but
is Ofori-Atta above the law?
No, but I didn't say you should go and interview him. I said he should go and ascertain whether he can travel.
Yeah.
Simple. I don't want him to go and interview him in another jurisdiction. There are laws in that jurisdiction. He should come back home and ascertain whether the man can travel.
Can the office of the special prosecutor just charge Ken Ofori-Atta and prosecute him if they have found evidence wrongdoing or misappropriation of funds? What's the point of him coming to Ghana if he's refusing to cooperate? If Ken Ofori-Atta honors the OSP's invitation but refuses to talk, it seems like a futile exercise, given that the OSP previously traveled to the UK to interview Mohammed's brother in the Airbus saga. Why can't they take similar action with Ken Ofori-Atta?
You know what happened? You know what happened in that particular one? The president's brother had a British passport, and the British were refusing to cooperate. Refusing.
He was a citizen of
the country. The citizen of that country refusing to cooperate. So what did they have to do?
They had to go there themselves.
Exactly.
Ken is out.
Not unless Ken has an American passport. That one we don't know.
Maybe he does.
Maybe he does.
Okay. I think I've read that one. Let me go to this one over here. And it says, good morning, KMJ. The leadership of our nurses are very insensitive. Why? How come the NPP government didn't implement the conditions for them after signing the agreement with them? The very president of the Nurses Association has been captured on videos trying to defend the NPP government during the time she was negotiating the agreement because that was her husband's party in power. This very woman time when all the Labour front wanted to go on a demonstration against Galamsey. I remember very well, she came out to say no, the nurses will not join the demonstration, all because her party was in power. Why now today, just after 5 months of a new government in power trying to clean up the mess of their party? The strike clearly and purely is political. That is that she is using her position to deceive the ordinary nurses to follow her. Okay, let me see what I can do. A few more. The Venerable KMJ, good morning to you and panelists. The professor is rightly hitting the nail on the head. Ofori-Atta is no mean Ghanaian than any other. He knew his voice. That is why he ran away, but he can't hide. He should come back and face the music. Go to Ghana prisons and see how even the sick prisoners are handcuffed onto hospital beds before attending to medical treatment. Why are they, the poor, suffering for little or minor offenses, and the rich are committing grievous crimes and getting off the hook? Let the law even be applied. David from Accra, that would end our messages this morning. Of course, it takes us into Doc's Prof's last message, and then we're done.
Yes, I want to just veer a little into this nurses issue.
You've got 1 minute for
yes, and I think that we have to let cool heads prevail. There are a lot of reasons why government can't do it. And there's also a lot of reasons why government must find a way to meet them. The government didn't have time. I heard some of their leaders say they gave government 5 months or so. That's not. When the budget was read in March, government had only just about 2 months in office. And I wanted to see maybe the Honorable former Finance Minister could have put this in his pre-budget but the budget he presented ahead of in November or so. Could have put it in there, or even in January, the one he presented.
Yeah, Dr. Amin.
Dr. Amin could have done that. They didn't. He didn't. So why don't we go and talk about that? But you see, there's a lot why that cannot be done. But I want to appeal to nurses. I had the unfortunate incident of being in the hospital immediately after the elections. And I see the conditions in which they work. I see their sacrifices. It is not about they being important or not being important. Whatever government has to do to ensure that no other kid dies today because nurses are not working,
strike.
we have to do it. As for what justifies the strike, we know that there is a lot that could have been done, especially on the part of the nurses, that their own members injuncted the process and that curtailed it, that derailed it. At the time that the thing could have been put in budget, some of their members took the thing to court. And once something is being injuncted, is being discussed by a court, you can't put it in a budget. Okay. So let's argue those things out. But I want to tell government that our kids, our relatives, and others are dying. Senseless as this strike is, we have to find a way out.
Okay, very well. Thank you very much, Prof. And thank you very much, Lawyer Kwame Jantuah, for joining us as well. Dr. Dixon Adomako-Kisi also joined us on Zoom this morning. And we're grateful to Franco Trading Enterprise, still phones Papa Pathie. My Father, My Hero promotion is still ongoing. Father's Day, we're honoring the man who's always shown up. Send a 30-second video to us on 0551575757 and share your dad's heroic moment. And he could actually be the man that we're putting on spotlight. You could also win big. We've got lots of packages that we're giving to fathers as well. Big Chef on Sunday at 4 p.m. is going to be on again. Mona Lisa and all the others are doing pretty well. Nicole and the others are all doing magic with their hands in the kitchen. You want to watch at 4 p.m. every Sunday. There's still more coming up right here on the show. Trends, we've got conversation on relationship also coming up as well. We're looking at adoption in marriage. See what a golden girl has got that conversation also coming. Nat has got some sports also coming as well. No, I've got surprise for you people, and so it will come. All right, all of you, I've got surprise for you.